D, wait for it, light bulb.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So Superman Lois is back. It wasn't on last week, which I was a little annoyed because I came home from work and I was gonna turn on the TV and watch it, and it didn't happen. And huh, Superman and Lois isn't on. So then I was like, well, maybe it needs a minute to get up on here and stuff. So I just waited, and it didn't happen. And then I was like, I'm gonna look online. So I looked online. I was like, oh, it's not happening till this week, but whatever, that's on me. So this episode was good, got some reveals or whatever. I do want to talk about a couple of things. So Intergang in this show is not my Intergang, like from the comics or it's in name only. And Bruno Mannheim is not the Bruno Mannheim that I know of. It's just in name only, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, I get where they're going with this, but I personally, I just it's not my Intergang. And the same thing with Onomatopoeia. So Onomatopoeia in this show is female, and the power set is definitely different. Like if so in the comic books, Onomatopoeia is a Green Arrow villain. I think he fought Batman. I don't know if he did. I think he did, because it was invented by Kevin Smith, and then I think he wrote a comic book with Onomatopoeia as the bad guy, but I didn't read that comic book. I only read the one with Green Arrow. And so I thought with Onomatopoeia, it would be more like, what's his face from Police Academy. Like when he fired, bullets, it would sound like that and everything. And he just made it with his mouth. And that's kind of how it was in the comic books. And he was a very boots on the ground kind of villain. Like he didn't have like powers like Onomatopoeia does in this show. But it's like whatever. That's what I thought Onomatopoeia would be, and then they changed it, and I can see why they changed it for this season. It's just not my Onomatopoeia, if you get what I'm saying. I keep saying Onomatopoeia and everything. This episode also was a little action-packed. There was some stuff in here that I did like. Some Easter eggs, which we're going to talk about when we get in here. There was one Easter egg that I don't know what they were talking about, and you can tell me if you know and everything. I just there's only one thing that I thought it possibly could be, but whatever, it's fine. So let's get started on this breakdown, you guys. I just want to say though, really quick, I really like this show. I really do. I know this season they're focusing a lot on Lois. It is called Superman and Lois. And they're focusing a lot on Lois in terms of with her illness of having cancer. But this episode, they're focusing on Clark more than they are Superman, and just his dealing with that. I'm curious as to why they went this route with this season, with the cancer route. I'd be interested in reading an interview with the writers of the show / creators of the show, and why they went down this route. Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started on this breakdown, because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm going to try to get through the breakdown as fast as possible and everything, but if I, whatever. If you want to bail, you bail. Before I get started, though, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we just keep getting shoved to the back of the line. So please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. Okay, so now that I got that out of the way, let's get started on this. Okay, so it starts off with Clark, and he's in this this group of spouses when their spouses have cancer, and it's a support group, which is always good. I think everybody in the world has been touched by cancer, not necessarily having cancer, but you either have cancer or you know somebody that has cancer. Cancer sucks. I wish they would just find a cure already. But support groups are really good. Support groups really help with that kind of thing, like when you have loss and So then they're talking, and people are sharing. This woman, her husband, she's taken on a lot of the burden. They talk about how spouses have taken on burdens and she's like, she gets upset and stuff. This guy talks about how he's upset that he might lose his wife. And then this woman, the woman, she talks about her husband and how his name was Kevin. His name is Kevin. It was Ken. His name was Ken. How he was a runner. He'd get up every day at 6 a.m. and he'd run. And she said, even through the chemo, he would run. And she said, he was my hero until he wasn't. And she talked about how one day she just realized that he was fighting and he was doing all of this because of her. He was staying strong because of her. And so one day she just looked at him and she says, you can let go. And that really hit Clark hard. I just want to say real quick, I, not judging this fake woman. She's not, she's not fake. She's a real person in real life, but she's an actress. And this character that she is not a real person. But not judging this person, this fictional character. But I would never tell my loved one to just give up on life. I find life very precious. I love living. If I ever got sick, I would not give up at all. I would not do it. So I think that I'm going to be honest with you. It's bad advice. I mean, I understand where this character is coming from. I really do. When someone's in a lot of pain, you just want that pain to be eased. But me personally, I'm all like, no, I am not giving up on any of this nonsense. So there's that. Okay. So then she's sitting here talking to Pia is her name, I guess. And she gets all the files from Mannheim. And so she's all like, what are you on your third treatment? She's like, about fourth, almost halfway done. And she's like, let me take you out to eat because that's when you lose your taste buds. So let me take you out to eat with one last meal so that way you can enjoy, you know what you're getting before. Clark comes in, she's all like, hey, there he is. And she's like, these are the files. And he takes the files and she's like, how was the group? Oh, she's like, well, the food sounds great. And she's like, it's a date. And she's like, how was the group? And he's like, she's like, it was fine. It wasn't for me. And so then we get the title. So Sarah's youngest daughter, I don't remember her name, not Sarah, Lana's youngest daughter, Sarah, that's Sarah. I don't remember this little girl's name. I want to be honest with you. I find her quite annoying. I have not liked her since season 1. She's very whiny. I get where they're going with this specific episode, but I found her very annoying and whiny since season 1, episode 1. And so therefore I like her problems. I'm all like, I don't care. And I like kids, but this one just seems very like, but at the same time, like I said, I get it. Okay. So she's like, hey, can we hang out? And she's like, I can't hang out today. I've got a big problem or whatever at work. And she's like, your sister's going to hang out with you. And she's like, I have to study, trapezoids or whatever. And I'm all like, and as a sibling, I don't have any younger brothers and sisters. I'm the baby of my family. But even though you have stuff to do, you can always take a hot minute, like an hour. You can't stop for 1 hour to hang out with your sibling and play some stupid cat zombie game. I'm like, come on. I'm like, that's so. She's like, I'm sorry, I have to go. She's like, listen, you're gonna do great. And she's all like, you want to play this fun cat zombie game I just downloaded? And she's like, no, I have to do my homework. I'm studying for this, exam. So then Christy is sitting here waiting for her and she's texting Kyle. And she comes in and she's all like, oh, trying to deal with Kyle and the kids and all that stuff. And she's like, oh, I'm turning in that divorce woman that nobody wants to talk to. She's like, no. And she's feeling guilty because she's seeing Kyle and she hasn't told her friend yet. And to that, I just go, why not? But I also get why she's keeping it a secret. And she's all like, no worries, just deal with it. You're fine. And so he is wearing these oversized thing that says Rusty. This is for his weekend job, a volunteering job at the fire station. And this is some old guy named Rusty. They said they said he died in it and everything. And so in comes Jordan. And he's like, I just beat the last simulation fight at the Fortress of Solitude. And he said it was some Kryptonian ninja lady. And I could not figure out who it was. Like I typed it into Google, Kryptonian Ninja Lady. The only thing that came up was this woman that was on Smallville in like season, I think it was the last season or season. No, the one with Zod as the bad guy and all the Kryptonians and stuff. Maybe that was season 9. I didn't care for that season personally. And then I did like he points to his brother and he goes, "You look like somebody that made a wish. You look like somebody that gosh, you're dressed like you were a little kid or an old gosh, what do you say? All right, time out." He said, "You look like you're dressed like somebody that made a wish to be younger." And he's like, "Funny." And then he's all like, oh God, what is the, I can't remember what they say. But then he's like, he does wow 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 thing, and he's like, your dad is something's going on. Your dad needs me. She's like, you go ahead. I'm gonna stay behind. And she's obviously feeling a little sick from the thing. And he's like, can I go with? And he's like, not this time. He's like, you still need to learn some things about it. So back at the DOD. This guy, I can't remember his name. He's obviously very sick, and he's like, take me to Mannheim. I'm sick. He's like, he's the only one that can save me. He's like, take him. So he takes him all the way. He flies him to Metropolis, and he flies him into Mannheim. He's like, you just crossed a red line. I'd be like, listen. I'd be like, listen here, Mannheim. Let's get one thing straight. See, that's the thing. That's what I like about Superman, but I don't like about Superman. Like, I would be like Homelander, and I'd be like, listen here, douche. You're gonna do what I say, or I'm gonna smash your skull in. I'm just gonna go pop. And everything. That's why I could never be a Superman. I would definitely be a Homelander. But he's like, you just crossed a red line. You're not supposed to come back here. And he's like, he's sick, and he says you're the only one that can save him. And he's like, help me. And he's like, yeah, he looks really sick. You need to take him to a hospital. And he takes him away. He ends up dying. So at the fire hall, he's washing this truck, and everybody's hanging out. You know, Kyle is texting Chrissy. She's like, hey, what's going on? He's like, I wash this thing like all day. Your dad finds a spot and it makes me start over again. And I can't remember what they say here, but they're going to study together later. And so she's like, are we going to do something? And he's like, sorry, babe. She's like, we haven't done anything. We just sat there. And he's like, sorry, and everything. I don't remember what else they say, but he's like, he keeps calling him like Krusty Rusty or some crap like that. I don't know. So then these two, I think so they're trying to figure out everything going on. And with Mannheim. And in walks Jordan, and he's like, he's all covered in mud. And he's like Jordan, and Lois is like, don't get anything on the rug, no mud on the rug. Anyways, okay. So sorry, I'm taking way too long with this. So he's all like, I was a landslide. I think I saved a hiker and a yoga instructor. And he's like, I told you couldn't go alone. And Lois was like, I gave him permission to go. And he's like, you need to be able to trust me or whatever. I'm on Clark / Superman side. I don't think that he's ready. He's proven plenty of times that he's not ready. I mean, he's proven that he's kind of ready sometimes, but whatever. All right. So they're trying to get Brainiac or Bizarro back up and running. Brainiac. I wish they did Brainiac. Bizarro back up and running. I can't wait for them to do it. It's going to be awesome. Except this time, Bizarro is going to be like pure evil, like he is in the comic. Well, he's not like, he's just dumb. Anyways. So he's like, get him up and running. He's like, I need more time or some crap like that. Onomatopoeia comes in, and she's all like, I can't remember what she says here. I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't take notes. I'm sorry. Don't be mad at me. So these two are making sweet love. And he's all like, today, all I could think about was, or no, she says that. She's like, today when she came in, all I could think about was you. And he's like, we should tell people. And she's she's like, we should tell people. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't want to do that to my girls. He's like, we need to just keep it secret a little bit longer. And she's like, okay. So then Lois is talking about, she's got a will, and she's setting up a will, which you should do. Especially if you should also do a living trust, like no joke. Like you do not want the government or some douche in an office figuring out what to do with your money. It should just go straight to your kids or to your other family, the family that you want it to go to. Set that crap up like right away if you can. I'm not joking. Spend the $100 that it takes to do it. I promise you won't regret it if something happens. Anyways, And Clark does not want to hear about her dying. He doesn't want to hear about it. He is just not he just was want anything to do because she's like, I could die, Clark. She doesn't say that exactly, but she's like, I could die, Clark. She's like, and he's just like, everything's fine. I'm gonna go, make a sandwich. He doesn't say that, but whatever. All right, so back at the fortress, he's going through some stuff. Okay, so now this one is where some more Easter eggs pop up. So the first one we get is Manchino Man. I think that's what it says. So this is him from the comic books. I do not know this villain. There's a person inside here. And it's like Dr. Manchino. There's been more iterations of this, like the way he looks, but this one's obviously looks like a jet of some sort or like a plane. But that's Manchino Man, if that's how you say his name. And then the next one we get is, hold on, hopefully, is Equus. And this is Equus from the comic books. Again, don't know this one. I did not read the comic book with this one. His name is Equus, but I don't see a horse in here anywhere in terms of that. So, whatever, it's fine. So that's Equus. And then the last one that they pop up is Atomic Skull. And that's him. This is not from the comic books. This is from a TV show. But the one from the comic books, he's purple instead of green or whatever. And I've seen this one before plenty of times in like TV shows and stuff. But yeah, so that's Atomic Skull. And he's like, listen, you need to be ready and, prepare yourself for anything that goes down. So he's like, and so he's like, you gotta be able to check out the situation, evaluate, and then, prepare in your brain. So then he's all like, I am ready. And he's like, so he throws out Atomic Skull and he's like, I've already defeated him. And he's like, yeah, but now let's see what you do against Atomic Skull and Bizarro. And so he gets ready to fight. So then she's all like, these two are having lunch. And she's like, I never knew this place existed. She's like, yeah, the food here is amazing. She's like, yeah, it looks so good. And she's all like, it's like Hobbs Bay. Nobody cared about Hobbs Bay until Mannheim. And she's like, I think Mannheim, something's going on with Mannheim, something bad. And she's all like, I think that he's corrupt. She's like, he paid for everything here. And she's like, yeah, but with what money? Where did that money come from? Now, if it was Intergang, it would be from them being a gang, but using technology from Darkseid, like alien technology, which I wish they would have gone that route. Like, I don't know. I kind of want them to introduce Darkseid, but at the same time, I'm all like, I don't know. That seems like very big. And like, I would like there to be like, I would like other superheroes in here if Darkseid did show up, but not going to happen. It's fine. So then she's like, Mannheim setting up all this stuff really helped me out because the first team didn't catch my cancer and, all that stuff. And yeah, she goes through her hardships. And so then back at Kyle's place, he's texting and him and Chrissy are going to go on to a hike. So he leaves and Sarah's like, where you seem chipper. He's like, yeah, it's a beautiful day. Yada, yada, yada. So then he shows up to study and Sarah comes out. And she's all like, hey, can we hang out? She's like, I'm hungry. She's like, go get some food. She goes in the fridge and there's like nothing there. And she's like, oh, what was me? I'm sad. So then she's like, this was delicious, but I don't have an appetite anymore. And she's like, I get it. And so I can't remember what they talk about. Oh, she talks about how this place used to have like red, booths or whatever. And I can't remember the rest of it. I'm sorry, you guys. Yeah. And then they bring over dessert and she's like, hold on. She's like, maybe I could find, there's dessert. I'm covering it up. Never mind. She's like, maybe I can find just one more bite. And she's like, you'll regret it if you don't. So then he's fighting these two holograms, right? And he's doing a good job. It's a little like very blocky. Like he's all like, and everything. And I'm all like, it's fine. It's fine. But he's doing pretty good. And then they like, surround him and he jumps up and they hit each other and knock each other out. And he's like, see, I did it, daddy. And he's all like, yeah. And then he gets shot with these little lasers or whatnot. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, you have to be prepared for everything. And he's like, that's not fair. And he's like, this is the real world. It's not fair. No one's going to fight fair, kid. He's like, you just don't want somebody super powered because then you're not so special anymore. And I'm like, oh, that's such the logic of a child. And everything. Listen, Clark is thinking like a father and he is thinking like a child. So then she's like, that's a sphere or it's a something or other. I don't know. It was a bad joke. And then Lana comes in. She's like, where's your sister? And she's like, I told her to go get something to eat. And she's like, well, when was that? Like an hour ago. And they're like, oh, crap. So now listen, they freak out like really hard, like hardcore fast and everything. They're like, oh my God, we got to go. She's Amber Alert. She's been fucking kidnapped. And you're all like, okay, calm, chill, little mama, chill. Okay. And they go to look for her. She goes to Brits and Britton Dunn's. That's not the best name for a store. Anyways, Quick Mark. She's like, she likes the comics and everything. And I was like, where's the comics section in this store? Anyways. And she's like, Kyle, I have been blowing up your phone. Why haven't you answered me? He's like, sorry, I went for a hike. And she's like, you went for a hike and our daughter is missing? And she's like, what could you possibly have done all day that would keep you from keeping our daughter safe? And there's Chrissy, and she's like, really? She's like, I have to go. And so back at the house, these two are mad at each other. And I can't remember what. Oh, okay. So back at the restaurant, she talked about how Clark shut down about her possibly dying. And the woman told her, you need to talk to him about that. And she's like, I want to talk to you. I could die, Clark. And I need you to know that it could have, maybe it's not here. I can't remember. Shit. Sorry. You're going to be all like, take notes. I'm not taking notes. Leave me alone. I don't have time for that nonsense. So then these two are trying to figure out where the little girl had gone. What is her name? Ugh, annoying. That's what it is. And so she sees the picture of the fair, the county fair where it was. And they go there. And she's like, leave me alone. And she's all like, he's like, I got this. He's like, and he talks about how in his family, he blamed his brother for all his problems, like all his failings or whatever, even though they weren't failings, like everything from season 1. And yeah. Can I just say I'm not enjoying this actor as much as I did the Jordan Elias. He was better at this. And so yeah, he makes her feel good, and everybody's like, whatever. And then he tells him, he's like, I'm gonna get you some new duds, dude. So then back in the thing, he's talking to him about, he's like, I want you to be, I just want you to be safe, but I want to teach you stuff kind of thing. I'm not quite sure what he said, something along those lines. And then they hear Lois screaming. She's like, Clark. So he's like, go. He's like, so then he flies in here and Lois is not here anywhere, but there's Onomatopoeia. And she does her thing and doing thing and blasts him into this building. And then these guys shoot him with these guns. And he's like, Mom, are you okay? Are you safe? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. What happened? He's like, Dad heard you. And she's like, listen for your father now. And she's like, and tell me what you hear. And he's getting blasted and he's doing a good job. He stands up and he's doing all right. But then Onomatopoeia blasts him. And then he's all like, ah. And he's like, Mom, Dad's hurt. And she's like, go. And so he flies off. And so then he takes out these dudes. I don't understand why he stopped. He lands and stops real quick. I just want to say too. And then Onomatopoeia blasts him. Hold on. Can I get a good, hold on. Give me 2 seconds. I want to get a good shot of him because I want to talk about his costume. Okay. So here's his costume. Can I just say, this costume sucks. What a crappy costume. I mean, it's not good. It's not good. And then how was okay, so his grandfather the last episode told him to protect these, like pretty much protect these goggles because they were my dad's. But if he blasts his little eye beams out of his eyes, he is destroying those goggles, like straight up. And I'm all like, whatever. So she blasts him, and then this dude comes in and shoots him with a kryptonite bullet. And he's like, no! And then he, gets super powered and blasts that dude. And then he slams her, he like body slams her like hardcore into these barrels. He's like, Jordan, oh God, please be okay. And Jordan's like, he's like, oh, thank God. And Onomatopoeia is gone because she can take a hit from Superman, apparently. And then so she's sitting here and he's like, look, Mom, look, I got a little kid. And then she's like, that's great. And he's like, what I missed? And then they come in. He's like, I got blasted with a kryptonite bullet, but I'm okay. I didn't get hurt. And he's like, we will be talking about this or whatnot. And he's like, oh, little Kent, what are you, Smallville's newest rapper? And he's all like, Sarah liked it when she saw it. And he's like, you saw Sarah? I'm like, oh, simp away. And so this is where she sits down and she's like, listen, we need to have a talk. She's like, I could die, Clark. Or maybe, no, they talked about that earlier. And then he talks about how he cannot, they talked about her dying earlier. She had a serious talk with him about it. And then he talks about how he's afraid because even though he's the strongest man in the world, he can't save his wife from cancer. And that scares him. And I can't remember what she says, but it's really sad. But they hug, and I'm like, yeah. So then these two are, she tells her she's sorry. Everybody says she's sorry to this little girl, and I'm all like, oh, screw you. And she's like, you want to play? She's like, I don't know anything about zombie cats. And she's like, you want to watch, what is this, 666 and everything? And I'm like, okay. And Lana makes a dumb joke about this hamburger game or whatever. Anyways. So then Chrissy talks to Kyle, and he's all like, she's like, we should have told her. He's like, yeah, I know, but yada yada. And Chrissy's in the right here because she's like, you made me, I had to keep a secret from my best friend or one of my best friends, and now that's jeopardized. Lana should get over it. Lana's an adult, just get over it. I mean, although bros before hoes, and in this case, sisters before misters. You know what I'm saying? But they like kiss and they like whatever. So then he goes back to the group and he sits down and he, talks. And so she's buying food, I guess, from this restaurant. And while she's doing that, Onomatopoeia goes back in and she's like, Superman is alive. I can't do this anymore. And she goes in and she looks at the picture of Mannheim. I do like this actor that's playing Mannheim. I do like him. He's doing a good job. And he's all like, the lengths you won't go to save the one you love or whatever. And so she takes off her helmet, and it's Pia. That's her, Mia or Pia, I don't know, but her name is Onomatopoeia, so I'm just gonna say Pia because that's her name. She's like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know how much I have in me. And he's like, I'm going to find a cure. I am going to cure you. And it's very obvious that this was her husband that she's talking about, and this is his wife or whatnot, and he's trying to save her. And then that's the end of the episode. And it was a good episode. It was just there was a lot there's just a lot of like these emotional beats that they're trying to hit, and I just go, listen, that is very Superman. I'm not trying to lie about that. That is Superman. But at the same time, I just go, we're kind of like not getting off track because that's not the right way to say it, but I just like, I don't know. Season 1 was really good, and I feel like season 2 is good. And maybe that's why they're doing this, because those seasons were so heavily, action compared to what they're doing now with these more emotional beats. So maybe that's why they're doing it, trying to change it up a little bit, which we always like. But yeah. Like I said, good episode, good season still, good season. I'm not complaining. I mean, I am complaining, but I'm not trying, like, I'm not viciously complaining. I just would like a little bit more. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this and with my breakdown and everything. Tell me, what did you guys think about this episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What was your favorite part? Who's your favorite character? All that good stuff. Tell me what you guys think. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on my next Superman and Lois breakdown and review. You guys have a good week. Bye.